Hi everyone. I'm not sure anyone wants to hear an old woman's story, but I need to share this. My name is Margaret Henderson, and I'm 75 years old. For 40 years, my husband Robert and I ran a small salvage and restoration business in rural Oregon. We bought broken farm equipment, fixed it up, and resold it to small farmers who couldn't afford new machinery. It was hard, dirty work that destroyed my hands and back. I never finished high school. Dropped out at 16 when my parents needed help on the farm. I've always been ashamed of my lack of education. But Robert never made me feel less than. Why am I telling you this now? Because my life completely changed after Robert died. I finally saw how my children really viewed me. And a letter my husband left behind gave me the courage to reclaim my dignity. Let me start from the beginning. Robert and I were dirt poor when we married. We had our son Marcus first, then our daughter Emily 2 years later. I worked myself to the bone for those kids. I wanted Marcus to have every opportunity I never had. We paid for his college, his MBA, his wedding. When he landed that corporate job in Seattle, I was so proud. But honestly, I gave Emily the leftovers. Hand-me-down clothes, community college instead of university. Always, Marcus needs this more right now. I know I failed her. The guilt eats at me. 5 years ago, Robert had a massive stroke. For 5 years, I was his caregiver while trying to keep the business afloat. The medical bills were crushing over $800,000 even with Medicare. I called Marcus for help. Mom, I've got 3 kids in private school and a mortgage. Can't you sell the business? Emily said she'd help, but she was struggling too. Mom, I'm barely keeping my head above water with 2 jobs. So I handled it alone. Exhausted, broke, defeated. The night Robert died, he squeezed my hand and whispered, "Lockbox. Under the workbench. Don't let them take it. You deserve better." Those were his last words. At the funeral, Marcus handled everything efficiently. Too efficiently. 3 days after we buried Robert, he sat me down with his wife Jennifer. "Mom, we need to talk about your finances. You can't manage alone at your age." Jennifer jumped in. "We think you should move into assisted living. We found a nice place near us in Seattle. We'll handle selling the house and business." "I'm not ready for that yet." Marcus's jaw tightened. "Mom, be realistic. You're 75 with no education. How will you manage?" Jennifer leaned forward. "And frankly, Margaret, we've invested a lot in this family. Marcus's education, the business loans Robert co-signed for us. Don't you think it's time we saw some return?" I felt like I'd been slapped. Return on investment? Is that what I was to them? "Your father left me enough to get by." "How much exactly?" Jennifer's eyes sharpened. "Because we're looking at college tuition for 3 kids, and honestly, after everything we've done. Helping with your care, organizing the funeral. You want to be paid back for burying your father?" The words came out before I could stop them. Marcus stood up. "That's not what she meant. Look, we just need to know what assets there are. The house, the business, any savings. We should probably get power of attorney so." "No." The word hung in the air. I'd never said no to Marcus in my life. 2 months later, they invited me to their son's graduation party in Seattle. I took the Greyhound bus up. Wearing my cleanest dress, a simple cotton thing I'd had for years. The party was at their country club. Everyone wore designer clothes. I felt like a poverty tourist in my own family. When I tried to sit at the family table, Jennifer touched my arm. "Margaret, maybe you'd be more comfortable at the side table? Some of my colleagues are here in." She didn't finish. Didn't need to. Later, I overheard her talking to another woman. "That's my mother-in-law. Sweet woman, but no education, no money, no class. It's embarrassing, honestly. We keep hoping she'll take the hint about assisted living." I left without saying goodbye. Cried the whole 4-hour bus ride home. That night, I found Robert's lockbox. Inside was a thick folder of documents. Investment accounts, property deeds, a trust fund. The total? $18 million. Robert had been secretly investing our earnings for decades. Real estate in growing towns, index funds, municipal bonds. And a handwritten letter. "Maggie, if you're reading this, I'm gone. I'm sorry I couldn't tell you about this while I was alive. I was afraid we'd spend it on the kids and Maggie. They don't need more from us. You spent your whole life making yourself smaller, so everyone else could be bigger. No more. This money is yours. Not for Marcus's kids' tuition. Not for Emily's debt. Yours. You married me when I had nothing. You worked until your hands bled. You nursed me for 5 years without complaint. Live, Maggie. Really live. You've earned it. Don't you dare give them a cent unless they earn your respect first. I love you, Robert. I sat on our bedroom floor and sobbed. Not sad tears. Angry tears. Liberated tears. ... The next morning, I called Marcus. I'm moving to the coast. Buying a small house in Cannon Beach. What? Mom, that's crazy. How will you afford? I can afford it, and I'm hiring a lawyer to set up my estate. If you want to discuss my care or my money again, you can schedule an appointment with my attorney. Silence. Then, Mom, what about Dad's assets? We have a right. Your father left everything to me, and I'm leaving it to whomever treats me like a human being. Not an ATM or a burden. Goodbye, Marcus. I hung up. My hands were shaking, but I felt 20 feet tall. ... I bought a little cottage overlooking the Pacific. I hired a tutor to help me get my GED at 75. I volunteer at the food bank. I take art classes. I have coffee with other women who don't care about my education or net worth. Last month, Emily drove down to visit. She didn't ask about money. She just said, Mom, I'm sorry I didn't do more when you needed me. And I'm sorry I was angry about Marcus. You were doing your best. We're rebuilding. Slowly. Honestly, Marcus and Jennifer haven't called. That's okay. I'm done shrinking myself for people who only love what I can give them. ... Here's what I learned: you can sacrifice everything for your children and still be disposable to them. Your worth is not measured by your usefulness. I'm 75 years old and I'm finally living my life. If you're watching this and feeling undervalued by your family, hear me: you deserve dignity. You deserve respect. You don't owe anyone your self-destruction. Thanks for listening. If this resonated with you, please like and subscribe. And tell me your story in the comments. You matter. Don't ever forget that.